Hello everyone, my name is Hector Mendoza. I want to give you a walkthrough, some beginner's guides, basic tutorial. I don't know what you want to call this, but I'm going to show you the basics of Word. I'm using 365, Office 365. So what you do is first you would go in and launch Word. Now, hopefully you already have Word installed in your computer. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get this far. So once you have it installed, the first dialog box that comes up, or the first page, is this right here. You can use one of their templates. Of course, you gotta, you can take a tour. You can view more templates. You can search different kinds of templates, but we're not gonna. This is not what I'm teaching. I wanted to show you how to start how to create a new document. So you click here where it says blank document. Yours is not gonna look like mine, because mine, I have mine to start at a default the way I like. So yours more than likely is going to have an orientation of portrait. Your columns is going to be one, but your margins are more than likely going to be probably 1 inch, or it might even, I don't even know what the what the margin standards are, because I have my own. So let's say, normal. Yeah, that is normal. That's what they use, 111. Okay, so this is what your Word is going to look like. For you, you're going to be dealing mainly with home. So what you have up here is a ribbon, okay? And on that ribbon, you have tabs. You don't want to. You can use this file, but that's when you're ready to save or do other functions. But on your tabs here, you have your ribbon for each tab, right? So home, this is where you copy and you can copy and paste. You can change your fonts, the color of it, if it's bold, italic, underline, if you want it to align to the left, center, to the right. These are going to be different styles, pre-selected styles for text. If you want to search for a word, this is where you would click. There's other places, but this is for basics. This is where you would go and how to replace text. Create and share PDFs. So this is the basic. So let me open up a document that I have in my desktop. So let's go to excuse me. Let's go right here. I'll use this one. Yeah, this one is a good one. Okay, so here's a basic document that I've already created. So when you're here, you can start typing whatever you want, right? So you see how I'm enlarging and reducing? That's kind of important, because if you got a small computer, yours might look like this, and it's hard to read. Another thing before we get started, you see how when I enlarge, I get a double page? It's because how I have my views. So one thing you do want to learn before you even start doing things is get to know your ribbon, okay, and how to view different ways, how to enlarge your not the text but the view of your text. Okay, so oh, here, let me delete something out of here. Okay, so this is just a document that I created. So to view in different scales, you have a bunch of options. The easiest one is right here. You see how I can decrease and increase the size of my page, right? Another thing, let's say that you want to view it at a particular size, and you already know your screen, so you know you like to view it at 125 or 150 or whatever it is. Like for instance, if I go and I read a 8.5 by 11, I know that the width is always going to be 170%, because you can tell it gives me a little bit of space on this side, a little bit of space on that side. So if I was here and I wanted to take it to the size that I was in a while ago, or the size that I prefer, I could click here. I could insert 170 there and just hit enter, and you see it went to 170. Or again, you can go up and down this scale here. So that's how you can enlarge and reduce your view. Now, another way is if you, so I'm going to put I'm going to highlight this, okay? I'm going to put my cursor right here. I'm going to hit my control key, and I am going to enlarge. And if you notice that wherever I put my mouse, it's going to go up. It pretty well keeps it in the screen, right? Same thing, look. So you see, I keep on enlarging, but I can still see this stacking, right? So watch this. Now, I'm going to reduce this real small, okay? And if I highlight, let's say, this part right here, and I hold my control key, and I start using my mouse, I hit my control key and start pushing up on my mouse wheel. You see how that is staying in my screen? Now, if I'm gonna deselect, and now I'm gonna use this. So when I enlarge it, you don't know where it's gonna enlarge, because it's gonna enlarge where it wants to. Okay. Now, the one thing that I will check to see is I want to see if I select this and I enlarge this area to see if it goes up. It doesn't. You see, remember when I use that other control, the control button, and I select an area, it'll go right to it, right? Even though I selected it right here and I enlarged it here, this time it came, well, it just happened to be by luck, I think, on that one. But so let's go back to 100% or 99. My best option is going in, selecting the area I want, hold my control key, and use my mouse wheel to enlarge. Okay, so there's other ways you can do this, but I'm not going to get too much into all of that. There is a different way. If you go to view, you can also hit zoom. It's the same thing as going down here, and you can click on 100%. You can now, more than likely, I'm not sure because I've been using Word for a long time, but I do believe that I think yours will probably look like this. So when you enlarge, it doesn't give you 2 pages. It just keeps on enlarging and enlarging. With mine, when I enlarge it, it goes to multiple pages. And the way that mine is doing that is because if you go to view, you go to multiple pages. As you enlarge your document, it will start either it went from 3 to 2 to 1 page. Same thing. If I go down, it goes from 1 page, 2 page to 3 page. And if you got 100 pages, then it will it'll give you a bunch of pages. Now, so let's go into the basics of this thing. Okay, so this is just a practice document. So I showed you how to insert text in here by typing, right? So you can select it by left clicking and just going as far as you want and releasing your mouse. So let's go to the home page. If I wanted to change this to plain text, I would click on where it says bold, because right now it's bold, and you keep bold, it changes it to regular, not bold, right? So let's go ahead and bold it again. I'm going to italicize it. I'm going to underline it. I'm going to put a line right in the middle of it. Okay, now I'm going to undo all that stuff. Okay, so I was just showing you how to manipulate this text. So let's say that this was my title. Okay, and my title was bold, red, but I wanted it centered in this document. So, I would click here. You see right in here, this is your paragraph. This is where you change your, I don't know if you know what leading is, your types, font, not the fonts, but the spacing between lines, and how you either center it, flush it to the left, flush it to the right. So let me show you some of the functions. So first, we're going to change this to a 24-point text. Let's say 36-point text. So up here, I hit 36 and hit enter, and now it's the font size is 36. But I also want to center it right here. If I click here, it's going to center it. Same thing. If I wanted to flush it to the right, which some documents do, sometimes they'll be like that, or you hit center. So that would be the title of the document. Okay. Now, let's say that you wanted to create certain styles, like for your headings and things. For right now, you see, my heading right now is just well, this is not a heading. This is just like a paragraph, or the beginning of a description of something, right? So right now it's black. If I click here, you see how it changed to this heading? Okay. Once you do this, there's this function in Word that will create a heading right here. That's hard to see, but there's this thing that says initial contact, just like the same thing here. You see, if I go in here and click on here, it changes. You actually have to go in here and select the whole thing to turn it into a heading. And what's cool about this way of doing it, I'll show you in a minute. So I'll create a few headings. Let me see, and I'll pretend this is a heading. Okay, so now on the left hand side, there are a bunch of headings that you can go search for. For instance, let's say I want to go to my inspections. All I got to do is click here and it goes to my inspections. If I want to go to my roofs, until I create a new heading, this is what I'll be getting for roofs. Okay, so if I wanted to go back to initial contacts, then all I would have to do is click here. Now, the good thing about creating headings like this is that, let's say I wanted to change all the colors of every one of them that have this particular heading. I could double click here or right click and modify. Instead of blue, I'm going to hit red, hit OK. Now you see how it changed all those colors. Anywhere there's a heading, it changed it, right? So let's right click, modify. This time we'll change it to green. Okay, so in addition to that, right now, you know, this font, let's say I didn't like that font and I like this. This looks like Times. It is Times, right? So let's say I wanted, every time I have this heading, I want to change it to Times. Okay, so if I right click here, I modify, and this time I'm going to go in here and type Times New Roman and click on it and hit OK. Now all of a sudden it changed all of them. So this is a real cool function that you want to use here. In addition, that you can here, let me show you something else you can do. If I click here and I right click and I tell it to, you see where it says expand collapse? If I tell it to collapse, watch what happens. Everything in between each one of these headings, they get collapsed. So watch, if I click on this arrow, now it only shows you the initial contact information. Or let's say I don't want to see nothing else except your damage report items. Then it's going to give me that. So this is a real cool function. And I really, you know, if you're in the insurance business, this is something that you really ought to learn how to use, because you'll see that these little functions here are real nice. So, so now let's say that I wanted to expand everything. So if I save the document right now, I'm gonna save it. Okay, and then I'm gonna close it. So when I open it, I'm not gonna save that. Okay, when I open it back up, remember we collapsed everything. When you open it, it always expands everything. So so don't think just because you collapse it here that it's gonna stay that way until even the next time you open it. It doesn't. It will always expand when you open it back up. So now let's say that you're looking for a particular word. Sometimes this document can be long. This one is just a 3-page document. You see, it has 549 words in it. Some of those documents we have can be 200 pages. And so let's say I'm down here. Okay, let's say I'm right here, and I want to look for the bank that these people use, and I knew the name of the bank. I could hit Control F for find, right? Here, let me close this so that you can see. This is how yours probably looks. So if you hit Control F, that is find. Now, not everybody's going to learn commands, so I'm going to show you where to look for this. If you click here and you click on find, it's the same thing I did when I hit Control F. And I type in that bank, it goes right to it. You see how it highlighted it? It lets you know this is where you found it. Now, let me show you something else. I'm going to get this and I'm going to slip this in a bunch of different areas. So I don't care about if it's in the middle of a word or if it's in between a paragraph. I'm just going to throw this word in. Wait a second, did it? Okay, so let's put it in here. Okay, I'm going to throw it in here. Here one more time. Okay, so right here. Okay, and I remember I didn't care if it's in between words or nothing. This is just showing you something. So I'll go in here and I type that word that I'm looking for. When I hit enter, everywhere it found that word, it highlighted it. Okay, this is a real cool function. Okay, now also if you go into your headings, it highlights which areas of the document, like for in your inspections. If you go to roof, if you collapse everything and you go straight to your roof, you're not going to see nothing. You're not going to see that word. So watch. I'm going to collapse all headings and I'm going to go to roof. You're not going to see it highlighted because it's not there. So when you're looking for something, you know, it's going to show you by it highlighting it. That's another cool function that you really should learn how to use. This is the basics of Word. Now, if you still feel like watching this video, I'm going to show you some cool stuff. Now, I'm going to have videos that will explain everything about home, everything about insert, everything about draw, everything about the design, layout, reference, mailing, every one of those tabs. Okay, but for right now, let me show you what you can do with Word. So give me a second here. I was hoping that I had a better one. Here, let me collapse everything. Not expand everything. Okay, so in the insurance business, there's a lot of things. We have to constantly create letters, reports, and things of that nature. And a lot of the sentences are all about the same. Okay, so for instance, inspection details. The dwelling is A. You see, I created this pull down that shows that it, you know, I usually don't do nothing more than a 3-story home. If I did, I'm probably working on commercial. So, you know, I can just click, pull down on that, and this a 2-story, and then I created this pull down that it's a brick home, a 2-story brick home with, and when you're there, you're taking all this information. Let's say they had a 30-year laminate roof. It appears to be in average condition. So instead of you typing, you can use pull downs. You can create these things that will you won't have to type if you know basically what you're gonna say for that sentence. For instance, age. This house, either, you see, I got it all the way up to 40 years. I mean, I can make it bigger. But I have inspected 100-year-old homes, but normally they're about this age. And so let's say it was 100 years old, right? I can just turn around and hit 100. A type of roof, these are the different types of roof. Instead of me typing it, and I can professionally write it that it's a modified Bitterman hot mop. You don't want to put bit modified. So this, laminate high grade, the numbers of layers, there's not going to be a bunch of them. 2 would be, if is it repairable? Yes, the roof is repairable. The pitch, it's a 13.4. So with Word, there's some cool stuff you can do. Same thing here, front elevation. No visible storm-related damage were found at the time of the inspection. Let's say that's on the right elevation. On the rear elevation, the following storm-related damages were found, and then you can start typing what was the damages, or whatever. So this is some stuff that you can actually do with Word. Now this is just part of it. So let's say that you had a document, or you were going to create a document, and you needed to bring in some. Here, give me a second. Let me go to just any place. Let's say you wanted to bring in some photos. Okay. Now, I got this on a different monitor, so I'm grabbing here. I'll tell you what. Let me go ahead and I'll show you some cool stuff too. So this is a folder. If I want to bring this folder to the right hand side, if I hit window command, it's not window command, it's just your window key, and you hit right, it flushes this document to the left. Now let's say, here, I'm going to close this. So let's say I want the Word document on the left hand side. Now I got two documents next to each other. Look, when I make this one smaller, look what happens to this one. It enlarges. And look, now I want to see more of my Word document. So there are some cool commands that you can use. Now, so in Word, I'm going to go in here, go into my layouts, on my margins. I'm going to put real small margins, because look, there's a lot of ways to bring in pictures. So I'm going to reduce this down so you can see what's going to happen. I got it real small, right? I'm going to select a few of these pictures. I hit shift and then selected what I wanted. Now I'm going to left click and stick them right here on this document. Look what happens. It put one in each, because this page, this photographs are pretty big, so it filled it in. Now if they were small, it would have put a bunch of them close to each other. Now let's say that I knew that I wanted a different result. For instance, if I go to my layout, I'll go in here and click on columns. I'm going to put more columns, okay? Because this is just 3 columns. I'm going to say more columns. This time, the number of columns, I'm going to tell it 4, and in between, I only want 0.25, a quarter of an inch spacing. You see, right now it was saying a 1 point something spacing. So I'm going to hit OK. Hit OK. I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier. I'm going to select a bunch of these photos. I'm going to click right here. Look what happens now. It's because I made those columns real small. Okay. Now, if I go in here and hit Control Z, go to my columns. Let's say we're going to use 3 columns standard. And I go in here. Look. It fills in exactly to the column width that you put in there. And there's a lot of other functions you can do, but this is some of the stuff that I thought that you might want to see. Let me see. Let me close this. Let me delete everything. Let me see if there's something else. 'Cause I want to make this video right now. We are at 30 minutes, so I'm going to cut it. If you like this video, subscribe to me. There's a bunch of other functions that that you can see by watching my other videos. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like it, put a thumbs up. I hope you're a subscriber. I got a bunch of tricks that, especially if you're a beginner or you're advanced. I mean, I'm real advanced. I can do some real cool stuff. Like, watch. If I go into my, let's go to, let me see here. I got hundreds and hundreds of documents here. Let me see. Give me a second here. Let me see. You can create things like this where it shows you the photo. This is a code that we use, and then at the end it gives you a description or other things that might be cool. Let me see if I have a flood. Give me a sec. Oh, let me go up one, and these are things that I use in the field. These are my things that I learned from, so I created this. Let me see. These are like my notes for what I have to look for on inspections, and how we're going to create certain. There's a program we use, and that's just a photograph. But yeah, this is some of the stuff that you'll learn. So don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.